Welcome, pilots! This video is part of a series that will focus on fitting pirate faction cruisers for running combat sites. In this episode, I'll be shining a spotlight on the Stratios, a ship designed by the Sisters of Eve for deep space exploration. With a deep drone bay and several exploration-focused bonuses, the Stratios is a highly versatile ship. In order to fly the Stratios, you'll need both your Gallant cruiser and Amar cruiser skills trained to at least level 2. Continuing to train Gallant cruiser will increase your drone's hit points and damage, while continuing to train Amar cruiser will increase your armor resistances. The Stratios' roll bonuses give it a boost to medium energy turret optimal range, scanner probe strength, and analyzer virus strength. It can also fit a covert ops cloaking device, allowing it to initiate warp while cloaked. It has the largest drone bay of any regular or faction cruiser, and its drone bandwidth allows it to field up to 4 heavy drones. With an even slot layout of 5 mid slots and 5 low slots, the Stratios' extra armor resists give it a stronger armor tank, but it can still easily be shield tanked. There are quite a few interesting fitting options you might consider for the Stratios. I'm assuming your plan is to run both combat sites and hacking sites in high security space. So with that in mind, your first option is your choice of turrets. The Focus Medium Beam Laser is the obvious choice, given the restrictions on your power grid and the ship's optimal range bonus. However, if you're not trained into lasers yet, there are ways to fit the Stratios with 650mm artillery cannons or 200mm railguns. I'll show some of these fits towards the end of the video. The second fitting option is whether to use an active shield tank or active armor tank. I recommend a shield tank against Guristas or Angel Cartel, and an armor tank against Blood Raiders or Sansha's Nation. I personally fit a shield tank against Serpentis as well, though I imagine an armor tank would work just as well. Because the Stratios has an armor resistance bonus, using a single armor repair with high resists could be an option for an all-in-one armor tank against any pirate faction. A passive shield tank is a possibility as well, though I found that it was only strong enough for my liking if I used up 4 of the mid-slots with shield modules. The third fitting option is your choice of propulsion module. The Stratios' low velocity makes the micro-warp drive the more natural choice. But you might prefer an afterburner, keeping in mind that it's likely to slow you down a little. And the final option is your choice of analyzer. The Zeugma or ligature integrated analyzers allow you to hack either relic or data containers, ensuring you're only using up a single mid-slot. If you don't want to spend a lot of ISK for an integrated analyzer, you'll have to decide between a data or relic analyzer. With this option, keep in mind you won't be able to run sleeper cache sites, unless you're fine with either docking up or bringing along a mobile depot to swap out modules. If you don't plan on running any hacking sites, you can drop the analyzer in favor of modules like a cap recharger, sensor booster, or multi-spectrum shield hardener. Both fits that I built for the Stratios use beam lasers and a similar complement of drones. One fit has an active shield tank, and the other has an active armor tank. Both fits are built to run as many high-security combat sites as possible, rather than specializing in any one particular site. This is the active shield tank fit I use to run any Serpentis, Guristas, or Angel Cartel high-security combat site, including the Angel 4 of 10 and Angel Vigil. It uses Tech 2 focused medium beam lasers and 2 Tech 2 drone damage amplifiers. The drone bay is filled with a full complement of Caldari Navy and Federation Navy light, medium, and heavy drones. When fielding 4 ogres, its damage output exceeds 600 DPS. A Sisters Core probe launcher is fit in the utility high power slot, with Sisters probes. The active shield tank includes a Tech 2 large shield booster and Tech 2 multi-spectrum shield hardener in the mid-slots, along with 2 core defense operational solidifier rigs, one of them the Tech 2 variant, to get a shield boost rate of just over 100 hit points per second. So long as the micro-warp drive isn't running, the fit is cap stable. It has a Republic Fleet large cap battery, 2 Tech 2 capacitor flux coils, a Tech 2 power diagnostic system, and capacitor control circuit rig. The final mid-power slot is a Zeugma integrated analyzer. I've also included 2 modules in the cargo bay, which can be swapped in under special circumstances. The extra multi-spectrum shield hardener is for running the Angel Vigil, while the scan range-finding array is to scan down the superior sleeper cache. I'll be showcasing some footage running the active shield fit against some of the more difficult Angel Cartel sites. In the second room of the Angel Cartel occupied mining colony, I found that a set of 4 Caldari Navy Wasps chewed through the Domination excavator in under a minute and a half. In the Angel Vigil site, I was quite surprised that the incoming damage in the first room nearly broke my tank. This experience was what prompted me to bring along the second shield hardener, which allowed me to run the site much more smoothly the next time. This is the active armor tank fit I use to run all high-security Blood Raider or Sansha's Nation combat sites. The offensive fitting is identical to the active shield fit, with Tech 2 focused medium beam lasers, the same complement of drones, and 2 Tech 2 drone damage amplifiers. A Sisters Core probe launcher is fit in the utility high power slot with Sisters probes. The active armor tank includes 2 Tech 2 medium armor repairs, a Tech 2 damage control, and an auxiliary nanopump rig. As long as the micro warp drive isn't running, the fit is cap stable. It has a Republic Fleet large cap battery, and 2 Tech 2 cap rechargers in the mid-slots. To ensure there's enough power grid, it includes a Tech 2 ancillary current router rig. The final rig slot is a drone durability enhancer, while the final mid-slot is a Zugma integrated analyzer. I've also included a scan range-finding array in the cargo bay in order to scan down superior sleeper cache sites. And now I'll showcase some footage running the armor fit against some of the more difficult Blood and Sansha sites. In the second room of the Malzatah Monastery, my usual tactic is to draw the mob to one side of the room while I take out the inner sanctum and all of the stasis towers. I typically stay engaged, rather than warping out and coming back later to scoop up the loot. I found that this tactic didn't go quite so smoothly in the Stratios. I would either get in trouble with incoming damage and have to take out some extra ships or towers, or rather embarrassingly forget to reduce my speed in time while flying past the container. The Blood Watch site can be tricky with all of the stasis webifying drones and tracking disruption. With such a deep drone bay and extra damage on drones, the Stratios is well equipped to deal with these obstacles. Assuming the Dark Blood frigate appears, I do still prefer to wait for it to fly away from the mob before engaging. In the second room of the Blood Vigil, I found I had no trouble taking out the stasis towers or station manager with my drones. Where I did struggle a little was in staying engaged long enough to loot the wreck. I found I had to clear out some of the mob to feel comfortable closing range. In the second room of the Sansha 4 of 10, I found I was able to break the foreman's tank with ogres in under a minute and a half. In the second room of the Sansha Vigil, a flight of hobgoblins chews through the spider drones quite quickly. I found I was able to stay engaged to loot the wreck quite easily here. Of all the pirate faction cruisers, I think I've enjoyed flying the Stratios the most. If I feel like running regular data and relic sites alongside combat sites, I can go ahead and just do it. In the superior sleeper cache, I'll only run 2 of the pockets: the solar power plant and the sentries on duty. I find this site takes roughly a half hour, but the amount of blue loot that can drop can definitely be worth it. I have yet to try out a passive shield fit for the Stratios yet, but it looks like it should be quite capable. The use of Tech 2 power diagnostic systems ensures the fit remains cap stable so long as the micro warp drive isn't running. While the EM shield resistance is a little on the low side, my feeling is that all this extra shield buffer may still be sufficient to survive any of the Blood or Sansha sites. So the passive shield, focused medium beam laser fit may well be good enough to serve as an all-in-one high-security combat ship. I've included a scan range-finding array and Zeugma integrated analyzer in the cargo bay if you want to run sleeper cache sites. I've included all of these fits over on my website at RileyEntertainment.com. I do provide alternate fits for alpha pilots, but I only tested the Omega fits. I would caution younger players to fully train into these fits first, rather than trying to downgrade any of the modules. Because the Stratios' damage bonus is exclusively for its drones, you might be in a position where your only missing skill training is for medium energy turrets. So I thought I'd present some alternate Omega fits with railguns or artillery cannons, keeping in mind that these are untested. Here's an active shield tank with 200mm railguns. And an active shield tank with artillery cannons. Note that these are the 650mm metal level 4, rather than Tech 2, due to power grid restrictions. Switching to an active armor tank with railguns. And an active armor tank with artillery cannons, which has enough excess capacitor to make the scan range-finding array a permanent part of the fit. Another fit I'm considering trying out, given the Stratios' armor resistance bonus, is a single-rep armor tank. This untested fit uses a Corpum C-type, with a reactive armor hardener and multi-spectrum energized membrane in the low slots, along with the Tech 2 nanobot accelerator and Tech 1 auxiliary nanopump rig. While I think this fit will work fine in most high-security combat sites, I'm a little wary of how it might perform against the Angel Cartel. Perhaps at some point in the future I'll give this a shot and report back in a separate video. And that's all I have for the Stratios. I'll be taking a bit of a break before the next part of the series, where I'll showcase some PvE fits for the Gila. If you ever need a little help running any combat site you find in high security space, you can check out my comprehensive library of video guides right here on this channel. Stay tuned to Riley Entertainment for more EVE Online combat site guides, and smash that like button if you enjoy my content.